Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to the F4 Southeast Asia Championship 2025, the season finale this weekend here at Sepang, and it is going to be an interesting battle for the next two races that conclude our championship season. Yesterday in race one, if you were not with us, then we finally have an end to the bandwagon. It was Evans GP all the way for the first 4 rounds of the 2025 championship. Well, things have certainly changed after yesterday's opening encounter as the young Italian superstar Niccolò Macagnani, making his debut in the championship 2 weeks ago. He put it on pole position for the first of the sessions and then managed to come away with 3 brilliant podium finishes. This weekend, he's been able to put it into pole position on both Q1 and Q2, which means he's pole position for 2 of the races. From the first of those yesterday, he cantered away to the victory in fantastic fashion, certainly not looking like a rookie anymore. Now we go into this second of the 3 races of the weekend, knowing that this one is going to be the reverse grid race, and that means we're going to get a very creative starting grid for this next encounter. Everybody getting themselves ready in position. Ayrton Azdathorn there in the Star Performance car, just practicing his start in the hope that he can get himself up the grid, but it will be fascinating to see what happens in this second of the 3 races. And the drivers are preparing for more exciting battles on the course as we try to decipher who is going to be the next winner in the championship. Could it be another whitewash for Alex Sawyer? Can Niccolò Macagnani continue to deliver on his magnificent new potential? Can Seth Gilmore get a 3rd victory of the season, or will we get a 4th completely different winner in this 2025 campaign? Certainly the man on pole position will be hoping so, as on this occasion it is Inigo Anton. Because we have 10 cars on the grid, it is the top 5 drivers from yesterday's race that will be reversed. So it's Inigo Anton that qualifies in the front of the grid for this, having come home P5 yesterday. And no wonder Ayrton Azdathorn was practicing his starts, because he lines up on the front row of the grid beside him. So the 2 contenders getting themselves onto the starting grid with a couple of warm-up laps to get themselves ready and in position. We will have our official formation lap in a short while, of course. The drivers obviously forming up on the dummy grid at the south paddock, but it will be from the Formula 1 straight that we will actually get the race underway. But there's going to be a really exciting battle for all of the contenders in this one, because yet again we have 25 minutes and 1 lap for racing, and still the same amount of points on offer for this particular race as there has been for races 1 and race 3. There's always been an interesting contention about this little ruling. There are some people who believe that because the race is a reverse grid race, then there should be a different amount of points set for it. Well, Top Speed has always been very clear about this when they have promoted these races. If the race is the same length as its counterparts, then why would you charge different points for it? If the race was shorter, then yes, they would say there's an argument to suggest we should award fewer points. But in this championship, yes, there is a reverse grid race. It's the top 5 drivers that are reversed. But if the race distance is the same length, then you should award the same amount of points, which I have to say I wholeheartedly agree with. When you're racing for the battle in the position, you know coming into the weekend that there is a reverse grid race to take into account. But if it is the same length of time, that actually raises the challenge for those competitors who are hoping to get themselves back into a competitive position. And I actually feel that it makes a lot more sense, if you're going to do it that way, to have the same amount of points for the same distance. So what the reverse grid does for us is it puts Inigo Anton, the young Philippine talent, into pole position for this particular race. He lines up alongside Ayrton Asdathorn on the starting grid, the Filipino and the Thai, lining up together on the front row of the starting grid. Then it is Seth Gilmore who lines up third position on the grid, the Australian double winner this season. Alex Sawyer, the newly crowned champion, lining up fourth position on the grid. You can see there just by Ayrton Asdathorn's car, the tyre pressures being checked over there by Nida Anis, as the team is being assisted by Evans GP. There is Seth Gilmore's car lining up in third position of the starting grid, the Australian who has taken 2 victories over the course of this season. It's been a very interesting challenge for him to try and work his way further forward into a nice position. He has won twice, once at the Bangsen Grand Prix and once again last time out at Sepang 2 weeks ago. We just saw there the team director of the Pinnacle Motorsport team, John O'Hara. We just saw him there standing beside Nicola Macagnani's car, as there is the Black Arts Racing machine lining up 6th on the starting grid. That is the car belonging to Imran Putera, the Malaysian, who will line up alongside Nicola Macagnani, who was the race 1 winner yesterday. The first driver, incidentally, from a team outside Evans GP to take the victory. That is the 68, that's Rafael Weiss in the Singaporean, and just leaning over the cockpit there, chatting to him, is his coach, Andrea Todisco, who specialises in young driver management. He's been very much incidental in the careers of many young drivers, including those formerly at CRG, the karting team. You'll notice there as well, beside Joshua Berry, that is Alistair Young with the headphones on. Alistair Young, of course, is the son of Alex. Alistair has his own racing career to look out for. He's been competing in the Indian Racing League in recent weeks. And there we have Thomas Yu Lee in the Masters GP team there, Masters team, I should say. Nida Anis looks like she's actually taking over the duty of the tyre pressures on every single car within the Evans GP stable, which is just one of the many things that she has been working on over the course of this season. She's been in almost every single motor racing paddock across Southeast Asia this year. A very busy person in motorsport. As Alistair Young gives the final instructions there to Joshua Berry, the Singaporean, leaning over the car and just giving him that last little boost of confidence. He did a good job yesterday, Joshua Berry, before his spin at the final hairpin. He was in a fantastic duel all the way through the race with his teammate Ben Yuing, the Vietnamese driver. He will have to start this race from the back of the grid as a result of his spin, but he's got an opportunity to work his way further forward. Expect a fair few overtaking moves in the first few laps of this reverse grid race, because there's going to be quite a few drivers trying to get themselves further up the grid again. Alex Sawyer starting 4th position on the grid, of course. That's the lowest he's ever finished a race in 2025, don't forget. And then, of course, Nicola Macagnani, the man who dominated yesterday's opening race, the first non-Evans GP driver to win a race in 2025. The young Italian doing a superb job on his, still very much his infancy in the world of motorsport at this level. He's still doing a fantastic job considering the amount of work that's being put upon him at such a young age to deliver and be at the same level as his contemporaries, after they have been in the championship all the way through the season, and he's still just getting started in the world of cars. So very good work indeed from him yesterday to grab the victory, as the drivers are left with just their one mechanic. The 3-minute board goes up, and that is the signal for the mechanics to now depart and leave their driver on the grid alone. And so the contenders are left to ponder the situation. It is the F4 Southeast Asia Championship 2025, Round 5, Race 2, here at Sepang in Malaysia. Great to be with you once again. Jake Sanson in the commentary box once more, as we gear up for the final 2 races of the 2025 campaign. A lot of support from Vietnam once again here on the stream. No doubt, of course, because their wait for a champion is finally over. After 121 years of motorsport in the FIA governance, it is a very landmark victory for the Vietnamese motorsport fan contingency, as Alex Sawyer yesterday became the first Vietnamese driver in motorsport history to seal an FIA-certified single-seater championship title. There are 3 young Vietnamese drivers currently working their way up the ranks at the top level of the sport, namely Alex Sawyer, Ben Yuing, who is also here on this grid, and Owen Tagovailoa, who is currently working his magic in the Euro Cup 3 and Formula Regional paddocks out in Europe. But a fabulous opportunity now awaits the drivers in these final 2 races. The championship titles are over, so they know that there is nothing more to lose as far as their performances are concerned. But on the front row of the grid, 2 men who would dearly love to put a victory in their back pocket before this season concludes. And that is, of course, Inigo Anton, the Philippines youngster on the left of your screen in his Black Arts racing machine, the red, black and white car, which, of course, is masterminded, that particular team, by the ex-Formula 1 driver Alex Yoong. And then alongside is the star performance car of Evans GP-backed youngster Ayrton Asdathorn, the Thai superstar, who is in that star performance team, which gets its assistance from the Evans GP squad, that's had a very successful season. Of the 13 races, of the 12 races that have been run so far in 2025, 11 of them have been won by Evans GP. Although Ayrton Asdathorn has yet to take his first victory in the season's campaign. He came very close indeed at both Buriram and at Bang Suen. He actually won the first race on the road at Bang Suen. Unfortunately, a time penalty prevented him from taking the victory outright. So Asdathorn will certainly want to put that little blemish to bed here at Sepang. If he can get a good start and get ahead of Inigo Anton, he's got the staying power to go for his first victory. We'll have to see if that is how it transpires. The grid is now empty apart from the drivers, and so we will make our way round on the first of our formation laps. Hopefully it will be the last formation lap before we get to race 3, as the green flag flies from the support paddock and around the drivers go. And it's going to be fascinating to see how the top 5 are going to finish up at the end of this one. The reverse grid race usually gives us a bit of a kickstart in the first couple of laps as the drivers try to shuffle the deck nice and early. It has been decided in the first few corners of the reverse grid race in the past, but hopefully the drivers have learned so much over the course of this season that they'll be able to give at least a little bit. And it's looking like a bad start to the race there for Imran Butera. The Malaysian has struggled to get the car away, and it looks as though he's actually going to have to get the car wheeled back into the garage, or at least wheeled into the pit lane to start the race from the pits. And there's an unusual situation here, of course, because he'll have to start from the south paddock, not from the Formula 1 pit lane. Inigo Anton and Ayrton Asdathorn lining up on the front row of the starting grid here as Imran Butera is recovered. The second row of the grid will be an all Evans GP affair. It will be Seth Gilmore alongside the new champion, Alex Sawyer of Vietnam, lining up 4th on the starting grid. He can win from there. He's won from lower over the course of this season. 5th position on the grid for the newest winner in the championship, Nicolò Maccagnani, the Italian, who lines up alongside Imran Butera, the Malaysian, although it looks as though he's going to be starting from the pit lane now. 7th on the grid for the young Singaporean, Rafael Weissen, as he goes side by side with Ben Yuing off the 4th row of the starting grid. And then the final row of the grid will see 2 talents with plenty to prove. Thomas Yu Lee, the Masters driver for Evans GP, alongside the Singaporean Joshua Berry, hoping to recover after yesterday's slip-up. So weave the car from side to side to generate tyres and temperature. It'll be an interesting run for the competitors to that first corner. This is where all of the hard work and all of that preparation comes into effect. You're just trying to get as much heat into these tyres as possible to give them a chance to be prepared. You want to make sure that when you nail the brake pedal into the first corner, the car is going to bite and it's going to give you exactly what you need heading to that first corner. And the Filipino fan club is well and truly in swing here. Everybody wants Inigo Anton to convert this into his first overall win of the season. He's had a whole host of victories in the Rookie Cup. And of course, he's not terribly far away from clinching that title himself. In fact, if I do the math, there is a genuine chance he may have already wrapped it up. He's certainly had a very exciting battle over the course of the season. Helped a little bit, I guess, by the inclusion of Niccolò Macchignani to take the points away from some of his competitors. But certainly in the Rookies' Championship, trying to decipher how many points are still on offer for his contenders. And yes, indeed, the victory, the third position, sorry, in yesterday's race was enough for Inigo Anton to seal the Rookie Cup. There is only 60 points available now from the two races, and as a result of being on 274 and Ben Yuying being on 197, that is enough for Inigo Anton to be declared as the Rookie Champion for 2025. But there is a chance that Niccolò Macchignani could do something pretty spectacular at the end of this season and claim 6 rookie wins in a row here, because he's currently managed to do it 4 times here at Sepang. 3 last time out and then 1 here with his victory overall yesterday. But there is a chance, of course, that Inigo Anton can finish on the podium in every single rookie class race that he has done this season, including the race that sadly got taken away from him at Sepang in round 2. So both championships are decided, but Inigo Anton wants to convert his rookie championship title that was clinched yesterday into sharp contrast here at Sepang to get the job done and get a victory overall. Can it be done? He's got his partner in crime, Ayrton Asnathorn, alongside him on the front row of the grid. Let's find out. We go racing at Sepang once again. And it's a cracking start from the front of the grid for Inigo Anton. Asnathorn has bogged down a little bit. Now it's going to be an interesting duel to the first corner between Seth Gilmore and Niccolò Macchignani, who's managed to jump Alex Sawyer, but Sawyer's going to play his old tactic around the outside of the hairpin to try and nail the inside line into turn 2, and that's how he's managed to get on terms with Niccolò Macchignani. Macchignani's going to try and hold this right round the outside, and as a spin for the back, it's Thomas Yuli who's gone round. Meanwhile, Seth Gilmore going wheel to wheel with Ayrton Asnathorn, and the Australian's going to go right round the outside of the tie. Into second place goes Seth Gilmore. Great start for the Aussie as Macchignani almost gets up the inside of Asnathorn and has dealt with the pressure of Alex Sawyer for the time being. And Inigo Anton has been left to keep his lead up front, so the Philippines fan base will be absolutely delighted that Inigo Anton has not only got ahead, but there is daylight between himself and Seth Gilmore in second place. Now we've got Asnathorn, Macchignani and Alex Sawyer, 3rd, 4th, 5th. And this is where the battle is really going to kick on a crescendo, as Alex Sawyer now watches Macchignani make his bid up the inside of Ayrton Asnathorn. Macchignani really is good at his racecraft after all. He may have struggled a little bit on his opening weekend, but he's learnt so much since then. He's got the move on Asnathorn, and so has Alex Sawyer, right round the outside of the tie. So excellent work from Macchignani and Sawyer as they both managed to work their way through into 3rd and 4th positions ahead of Ayrton Asnathorn, with Rafael Bison trying to keep close to them, the Singaporean in P6. He got the jump there as he worked his way forward. Imran Putera has restarted the race, but down to the back of the grid, unfortunately. Thomas Yuli spinning on the first lap. There he is in the background, having recovered, and Imran Putera trying to catch him. So it'll be Ben Yuying versus Joshua Berry once again in this race between 7th and 8th places. But look at Alex Sawyer. He's got ahead of Ayrton Asnathorn. Asnathorn is angry that he let both men through on the first lap. He'll want to try and get this back again. And as we go down the main straight to complete the first lap, Asnathorn is already trying to get into the slipstream of Alex Sawyer to close up on him once more. So Macchignani, 3rd position, Sawyer, P4. Now this really will be an interesting test of what Macchignani's capable of. He got a fantastic victory in yesterday's opening encounter from pole position, but in all of the reverse grid races up to this point, it's Alex Sawyer that has stolen the show. Look at the dirt that's been left on the circuit there at turn 3 as a result of Thomas Yuli losing the back end of his car. And now we've got the pressure of Inigo Anton being caught by Seth Gilmore, who wants to take a victory one more time before this season wraps up. And Inigo Anton is determined that he wants to get his first win overall of the season. So this could be quite an intriguing battle, as drivers know they've got absolutely nothing to lose in 2025. Both championships are decided. There is the overall champion, Alex Sawyer, and leading the race is the rookie champion, Inigo Anton. But now it's about pride. They want to race 2 more times and see who's going to be in front when the checkered flag falls. This is all about just finishing the job and also advertising themselves to potential teams for next season, of course. But look at Niccolò Macagnani. He has got ahead and he's pulling away from Alex Sawyer. He is not letting the new champion get on terms with him. And I'm sure that everybody down at Pinnacle will be absolutely delighted for this particular Italian. Runs through that very tricky right-hand corner that is very difficult to get right on the apex. Because it actually starts halfway down the crest. Now down the back straight and up into that very tight left-hand hairpin, but you can get the position just right, nail the throttle, and it really pushes you down that main straight as Seth Gilmore sets out on task to close up on Inigo Anton. The gap was a second between the two of them as they came across the line last time. Now it's just 0.7 of a second. So Gilmore is definitely doing the hard work here to close up on Inigo Anton. Tries to keep him honest as he pops out. Doesn't go for an overtaking move, but that's just to let Inigo Anton know that he's there. This is the first step of the intimidation, as it were. So it's going to be fascinating to see what happens next now, as the drivers are obviously focusing on their next objectives, trying to figure out what happens next here. Macagnani definitely catching up to Anton and Gilmore. Sawyer just keeping himself in check there as Rafael Weissen is now stepping up his attack on Artan Asdathorn. So can the Singaporean Rafael Weissen, in his first weekend in the championship, make an impression? He's obviously going to want a full campaign in 2026, but this is just the dipping the toe in the water, as it were, to see if the temperature's right. Works his way through to turn 7 and 8, the double right-hander. Then works his way, as everybody does, up to the hairpin. And look at Macagnani really starting to hustle Anton Gilmore. This is everything that the Italian has learned. He obviously went away from the opening weekend 2 weeks ago. He knew he could do better. He knew he had work to do. And he knew that there was room for improvement. So he has now started to read the signs and give himself the chance to develop. Here comes Imran Putera on the tail of Thomas Ueli. Thomas Ueli with his very own unique race livery compared to everybody else. The dual livery, orange on one side and teal on the other. But look at Macagnani. He's got a chance here to get ahead of Gilmore before Seth Gilmore gets his run on Inigo Anton. John O'Hara must be absolutely beaming from ear to ear here back in pit lane, as his boy wonder really is proving to be an exceptional young talent. Don't forget, this is not nepotism getting him into a decent seat. Niccolò Macagnani has no motor racing heritage to draw upon. He is the first member of the Macagnani family to go motor racing. And for the last 4 years, he's been testing a race car. He's not been karting. He's gone about this in a very different way to everybody else on the junior single-seater ladder. Jumped into F4, and it's quite clear he's ready. No wonder the Ferrari Driver Academy took him on for next year. And why did they do that? Well, they saw his lap times in testing and were suitably impressed. Imran Putera trying to go right round the outside of Thomas Ueli, because that's where the American's going to place him. Will the door organically open up through turn 1? No, it won't, because Thomas Ueli is wise to the potential move from Imran Putera. And the Malaysian is going to have to do something fairly drastic here to get the move on Thomas Ueli as they pass the scene of Ueli's spin on the opening encounter. But now Thomas has got his back to the wall. Here comes Imran Putera. Can he dive in at turn 4? It's too high risk this early on into the race. We've still got 17.5 minutes to go. But Imran Putera knows that if he gets a good run off the turn, he can stoom up the inside line. Will he get his chance at turn 5? Yes, he does. He opens the door and makes the move stick. Nice work from the Malaysian rookie, Imran Putera, doing a fine job there under the tutelage and expertise, of course, of Alex Yoong, the only Malaysian ever to race in Formula 1. And he's learning beautifully. Niccolò Macagnani, the Pinnacle driver in the number 19, race winner yesterday. Pole position for both qualifying sessions yesterday as well, which means he'll start pole for race 3 later this afternoon. But he's the one who's leading the charge. on Inigo Anton and Seth Gilmore. And look at Alex Sawyer. He is dropping back. He is just chilling out and enjoying himself. He doesn't have to push. He's already the champion. But isn't it fascinating what momentum does to a race car? When you're fired up, when you know you're in the draft, you can just take your time. And Alex Sawyer is not really gaining on the top three. As Seth Gilmore goes a little bit wide. Macagnani may have a chance here at a turn one, and he knows it. The Italian right in behind Seth Gilmore. Gilmore did not want to see Macagnani in his mirrors. And as they come across the line, Gilmore's now got to play defensive. Macagnani's going to have his back against the ropes here, up towards the first corner. Macagnani will have to go left because that's where Gilmore's going to send him, but he's going to give him as little room to navigate the turn as possible. Gilmore will try and hug the inside apex. Good defense from the Aussie. And Macagnani's got to wait. And this is eating into his chances of winning the race outright. For Inigo Anton and all the Philippines fans, this is wonderful. They want this battle to keep going because it will give Inigo Anton even more time out in the lead. Here goes Macagnani again, has a look. He's too far back. He can't just chuck it up the inside of Seth Gilmore and hope it'll stick. So Gilmore holds on to this second place once more. Here's the chance for Macagnani through 5 and 6. Gets tighter onto the radius. Throws the car back in through 6, up towards 7 and 8, the double right-hander. He's got a great chance into the slow hairpin at turn 9, but he needs to stick like glue to Gilmore through 2 of the toughest corners on the circuit to follow in the wake of the car in front. And he's too far back again. He's got to wait for another opportunity. This is excellent news for Black Arts Racing and Inigo Anton. They have been denied a victory all season long. First by Evans GP in the first 11 races of the season, and then yesterday by this man, Niccolo Macagnani, in the pinnacle. But with Inigo Anton out in front, this is the opportunity. Can he turn it into a race win? Can Black Arts finally get their first win on the board? The longer the battle for second goes on between Gilmore and Macagnani, the more likely that prospect becomes. But it's down to Inigo. He can't just rely on these two. He's got to make sure he keeps the tyres going. He's got to keep himself hungry and in the game. So Gilmore has lost about 0.6 of a second to Inigo Anton in this little scrap with Macagnani. Macagnani's going to be brave into the hairpin. He'll dive up the inside. That tempts Gilmore to come off his line a little bit, but he chops back across. No, you don't. Good work from Macagnani, but also good work from Gilmore. But now he's on the back foot, and he's lost another couple of tenths to Macagnani. As down the straight he will go up towards the corner. Macagnani going to go the long way round. Gilmore's going to have the inside line, but can Macagnani go right round the outside of the hairpin and then throw it up the inside for turn 2? No, he can't. Gilmore is wise to it. I've played these games with my teammate Alex Sawyer all season long. I'm prepared for you, sunshine. And as they come off turn 3, up the hill they go towards 4, and Gilmore really having to work to keep Macagnani at bay, but it's inevitable. Macagnani's got the speed, he's got the grace, and he's through on the inside line at turn 4. Macagnani gets ahead of Seth Gilmore. Great overtaking work there from Macagnani. Strong defensive tactics from Gilmore, it has to be said. But it was beautifully timed and absolutely superbly executed by Macagnani, who with 13 minutes left of this race is now in second place with a 1.5 seconds to find to catch up to Inigo Anton. That is not good news for the Philippine fan base watching back home, because they really didn't want to see that man looming large in the mirrors of Inigo Anton. It's going to be difficult for him to hold him back when he's in this current form. So it's going to be tricky. Everybody knows how tricky it will be. And of course, everybody at Pinnacle will be watching on now, hoping that this can convert into a second race victory for Niccolo Macagnani, who is alone this weekend out on the track. He had a teammate 2 weeks ago, Karin Kaur, who is actually in the garage this weekend, learning about motor racing from the other side of the cockpit. She obviously wants to go about this in a very disciplined and a very analytical way. She was in the car driving 2 weeks ago. This weekend she's there to support the team, but she's also learning about the science of how the team works. She really wants to understand this from a very analytical and very insightful approach. And I think it's very commendable that a driver would choose to do that, to sit out for a race weekend while they're still learning about the car and trying to soak up all the knowledge. She really is like a sponge, Karine Kaur. Next year, she could well be a championship contender. All of that hard work and all of that knowledge is going to work dividends when it comes into the title fight next year. Right, look at how unsettled the car is now for Seth Gilmore. He's having to wrestle with it. Having lost out to Nicolo Macchignani, the car is not giving him what he needs now. And so up to the top end of the crest they go. And look at how quickly Macchignani is closing in on Inigo Anton. This is going to be a white walk for him if he gets his chance. But Alex Sawyer has been biding his time. He's been very smart further back. He was losing ground. He watched the battle unfold with Macchignani and Gilmore, saw Macchignani go for the move and went, right, this is my time to pounce. He's been a real tyre whisperer this season. He knows exactly how to get the most out of his tyres, and this is where he can really push on. It's mad to think that Alex Sawyer in P4 is currently in the lowest position he has finished a race in 2025. That's how strong his season has been. But Seth Gilmore still has the potential to be the only driver in the entire field to finish in the points in every single race this season. No other driver on the grid can do it. No other driver will be able to do it. And so Seth Gilmore just needs to get some points finishes in these last two races to get a clean sweep of finishes in 2025. But Inigo Anton has 10 minutes to cope with the onslaught that is raining down on him now. The Italian stallion is on him. Nicolo Macchignani is cantering up to the rear wing in the hope that it's going to be pure intimidation that gets him through. So now we'll get to see how long it's going to take Macchignani to make his bid on Inigo Anton, but with a clear track. Oh, Thomas Yuli has spun the car. Now, if he can't get the car started again, that could be a safety car, because he's currently beached in the middle of the circuit just as the drivers are going down the main straight as well. So this could really hold things up, but it could potentially assist. Look, Thomas Yuli is trying to get the car started again, but he's abandoned the car in the middle of the circuit. Let's look at how he did it. This is into turn 9 on the throttle. Just too early on the gas. And that's by a split second as well. It's such a fine line. But unfortunately, the car is stationary in the middle of the racetrack, and Thomas Yuli cannot move. So surely that's going to be a safety car, as we now try and figure out what's going to happen next, because Inigo Anton is under pressure from Nicolo Macchignani. He's screaming down the radio. If he knows about the incident for Thomas Yuli, he'll be screaming, safety car, I need this guy off my back. But obviously they are approaching the scene of where Thomas Yuli is currently stationary. There is the safety car board that we were expecting. So the race has been neutralized. So there will be no overtaking now. Wow, what an opportunity this is for Nicolo Macchignani, sat behind Inigo Anton. The safety car is out. The drivers may well be thinking, why? And then they turn around this corner and go, we understand now. Thomas Yuli's car abandoned in the middle of the racetrack. And unfortunately, it looks as though the car has stalled, so there will not be a finish for Thomas Yuli in this one. So it's going to be a very difficult situation for Inigo Anton when this race restarts. They'll have to recover Thomas Yuli's car. We've got 8 minutes to go. And Thomas Yuli, with his car stationary in the middle of the circuit, they're going to have to recover him. That's going to take about 2 minutes or so to do. Then we're going to obviously reset the position. So there is Thomas Yuli's car stationary on the racetrack, not moving after his spin at turn 9. The safety team will now have to go to his car to recover him and get him out of the way. And then we'll go racing again, which means we'll have limited laps in order to make this move. Now, this is going to be an interesting one, as there is the safety car ready to pick up the race teams. So once the safety car is caught up to by the rest of the field, then we will be able to run underneath it, of course. So this is both a help and a hindrance to Nicolo Macchignani in second place, because yes, it means that he doesn't have to push the tyres quite so hard. Yes, it means he's already caught up to the back of Inigo Anton, but it's also a tricky situation for the Italian. He's not really had to deal with safety cars much in his career so far, as there is Thomas Yuli getting a recovery from the marshals. Now, they can't push him back into the... Oh, well, that's gone wrong. They've tried to recover him, and unfortunately now the car is beached because, of course, the engine is stopped. But the plank underneath the car has essentially now rested on the curb. So that is going to be a little bit more of a muscle-bound job that's needed there by the Orange Army. Just the angle of getting it recovered. Not so easy to maneuver these cars in these conditions. So it's very difficult to know how this is going to affect the recovery job. Already those 2 minutes have gone, so we may get a little bit longer behind the safety car. That means that there's only potentially going to be 1 or 2 laps tops for Niccolo Macchignani to get past Inigo Anton, and that puts the Italian under pressure. Don't forget, this is only his 5th ever car race for Niccolo Macchignani. He's still trying to show everybody that it's not just 1 lap pace in secret in testing that he's got. It's also great racecraft. Yesterday, he didn't have to bring the racecraft out. He just got into the lead, drove away and disappeared. He didn't have to go wheel to wheel with anybody. So this is really the one thing that's been missing from Niccolo Macchignani's arsenal over the course of the last few years, is his wheel to wheel prowess. Now he's going to have a very interesting couple of laps here, where he knows he can make it 2 wins out of 2 from a reverse grid race starting position of down in P5. So there's a lot of momentum on Macchignani's shoulders here, and he's up against the man who's just become the rookie champion, who's been here since the start of the year. So this is a lot of pressure to put on Macchignani's shoulders, but it's also a lot of pressure to put on Inigo Anton. He does not want to lose to an upstart who only joined the championship 2 weeks ago. He doesn't want to lose his first victory of the season to a man who, in his mind, well, he hasn't really been here since the start. So this is my chance to win a race. Macchignani's already won one. It's my turn. Unfortunately, motorsport has never been about it's my turn. Safety car lights are out, so we're going to go racing again. So in fact, I think we're going to get about 3 or maybe even 4 laps out of this race, depending on when the drivers cross the line. I think it's ultimately going to end up being 3. But the safety car will come in at the end of this lap, and so all the pressure in the world is now mounted on the shoulders of the young Filipino Inigo Anton. This is his chance to grab his first victory in the F4 Southeast Asia Championship overall. But the man who did take his first victory in 2025 yesterday, Niccolo Macchignani, is going to be all over him on this restart. Safety car will pull into the pits, and now it is time to go for it. And what will Alex Sawyer do now that he's been able to come closer to the back end of the stable as well? All of the drivers ready and in position. We're going to have the remaining 9 go for it as Inigo Anton plants his foot on the throttle, goes for it in the final hairpin. Niccolo Macchignani trying to stay with him. And watch for Gilmore and Sawyer. They're going to be interesting men to watch as we come off the final turn. We blast down the straight, and it's green, 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 green once again here at Sepang. But can Niccolo Macchignani put all the pressure in the world on Inigo Anton and force the Filipino into a mistake? He has a look in the rearview mirror, one way, then the other. Big intimidation from the Italian. Inigo Anton is not budging. The back end steps out slightly, but he's able to correct it. Gilmore and Sawyer are getting close to the back of Macchignani as well. Inigo Anton is really hoping that the Evans GP team can show their strength and resurgence to try and tackle Macchignani once again. Gilmore wants to get ahead, but look at Macchignani. He's already raining down on Inigo Anton's parade. Up towards turn 4, he has a look. Anton chops across. No, you don't. No chance. This is my victory. You're going to have to prize it from my cold stone gloves. Through 5 and 6. Little bit of sideways from Anton. Inigo, tidy it up. You do not want to cook the tyres at this stage. You've got a chance to win this. There goes Niccolo Macchignani, just keeping it cool, nice and tidy. Doesn't want to let this slip away. Still lots of potential in this race for Inigo Anton to take the win, or for Niccolo Macchignani to snatch it away. But it's really going to be close. An amazing run. Off the turn they come again, and Macchignani just keeping the pressure nailed to the mast. Alex Sawyer taking plenty of curve as he tries to close up on Seth Gilmore. He wants another trophy to squeeze into his luggage before he flies back to Vietnam. Off the final turn again. Oh, Macchignani really riding the curves as he tries to come after Inigo Anton. That's not going to get him any closer to the Philippines youngster. And Macchignani still showing his inexperience there. But Anton can see him in his mirrors. Don't spend too long looking at it. Here comes Macchignani, diving up the inside into the final hairpin. And there's not a lot that Anton's going to be able to do to combat that. He goes off. Anton skates off the course, and that's going to be a sweep, surely, for the two Evans GP cars behind. Macchignani snatches the lead. Gilmore's going to have momentum. So is Alex Sawyer. They're both going to squeeze past. It's the worst possible way for Inigo Anton to lose the lead, because now he hasn't just lost the lead of the race, he's lost the podium as well. Oh, so much pressure put on Nicolo Macchignani there, but he rose to the occasion and delivered magnificently. And Inigo Anton was the one who cracked. What a shame. Here it is. Macchignani's already well alongside. This is where Anton hopes he's got enough room, but he hasn't. And he runs across the grass, bounces across, and all the momentum to go back after Macchignani is gone. In behind the Evans GP pair of Gilmore and Sawyer. You really, really have to feel for Inigo Anton. He came so close, but now he's got so much work to do. If he wants to win this race, he's got to get back ahead of Sawyer, Gilmore, and then Macchignani. It's looking like Mission Impossible time for Inigo Anton. What a shame. And now he's going to have the pressure of the man he started this race on the front row of the grid with, Inigo Anton, to try and work his way forward. So we'll have to see what Alex Sawyer is able to do, if he can get on terms with his teammate Seth Gilmore. He doesn't need to, but again, he's a racing driver, he'll want to go after him. Don't tell racing drivers that you have to just sit back and chill out, because they just won't. They'll go for it with every fibre of their being. And so there is Nicolo Macchignani. If you didn't know his name a few weeks ago, it's going to be hard to forget him now, as he works his way down the back straight up to the hairpin loop once again. Asdhathorn pops out from behind Inigo Anton, hoping that he can steal second in the rookie class. And Alex Sawyer and Seth Gilmore think they're going to give us one final bout on the last lap. That'll be entertaining, as Nicolo Macchignani starts the final lap of the penultimate race of the season, going for his second win of the championship. And this one will be so much more impressive than yesterday, because he had to fight to get the victory this time. He had to roll up his sleeves and put on the boxing gloves if he wanted to get the victory, and he did so in fantastic fashion, to get ahead of Asdhathorn, to get ahead of Sawyer, to get ahead of Gilmore, and then to get ahead of Inigo Anton. Amazing work from the Italian, as Anton Asdhathorn tries to get his move on Inigo Anton before the finish. And of course, Alex Sawyer now charging up behind Seth Gilmore. He wants his bid before this checkered flag comes out. So the battle for second still on, the battle for fourth still on. And Inigo Anton is just desperately trying to hold on to second in the rookies title race, as Nicolo Macchignani continues to put the pinnacle in all the right places around this Sepang circuit. 2 weeks ago, he looked like a rookie. He looked like a man who was still learning about how to race these cars. He doesn't look like a rookie anymore, and anybody who goes up against him in 2026 needs to be afraid, needs to be very afraid. This kid is ready to become a legend. And he disappears away from Gilmore and Sawyer, the two men that have cleaned up prior to round 4. Absolutely amazing. Oh, Alex Sawyer, a rare mistake for him there. Well, there goes the chance of getting second place. But he won't mind too much. He knows that the championship is already his. He's just having fun out there. But Nicolo Macchignani is building an amazing brick reputation, an ironclad legacy at the end of his 2025 season that's only been 2 weeks in existence. And yet, the man who's going to join Ferrari's ranks next year has shown everybody exactly why they put pen to paper for this young boy. Out of the final turn comes the new Italian stallion, and it's a double victory for Nicolo Macchignani in Sepang. Can you believe it? What an amazing drive from the Italian. Nicolo Macchignani, arrives in the world of kart racing, having been a test driver for 4 years. No real karting experience, no real karting campaigns. He's come about this in such a different way. The family has very little experience to support him. This is a new endeavour for them. His father never raced, his grandfather never raced. He's the first one to dip his toe into this incredible environment. And he looks well placed. He looks calm, he looks composed, and he looks ready to work his way up the ladder. The Macchignani story has begun in victorious fashion. 2 wins out of 2 so far this weekend then for Niccolò Macchignani. As we look at Seth Gilmore and Alex Sawyer in 2nd and 3rd places, Inigo Anton cruelly denied his first victory. Ayrton Asnathorn in P5 ahead of Rafael Weissen, Ben Yiming, Imran Putera, Joshua Berry, and after his retirement, sadly, Thomas Yuli does not make up the finishing order. But what a sensational start to Niccolò Macchignani's single-seater journey. 2 weeks ago, on his debut, he grabbed a pole position, backed up by 3 podium finishes. This weekend, he's grabbed 2 pole positions and now 2 race victories, the second of which has come from a reverse grid. Absolutely incredible. And now we'll get to see what he can do again in race 3. Can he take a clean sweep and be only the 2nd driver this season to have done that? The other man to have done so, of course, on 2 occasions to get 3 wins out of 3 was Alex Sawyer, who did so at Buriram in Thailand and also in the season opener at Sepang. But what an extraordinary arrival on the scene here from Niccolò Macchignani. Look at his start. He completely outfoxed Alex Sawyer to the first corner and then made his bid on Ayrton Asnathorn halfway round lap 1. Set off in pursuit of Seth Gilmore. Took his time about it, didn't rush. Read the situation perfectly once he got alongside him. Found his gap, found his move, and made it work like clockwork. Excellent performance from Niccolò Macchignani. Here's the move on Gilmore into turn 4. Nailed it, absolutely perfect. Then came the safety car with Thomas Yuli spinning off the road here at the hairpin. Just a slight fraction too early on the throttle and the back end got away from him. Safety car came out, bunched up the field, and Inigo Anton had a lot of work to do to keep Macchignani at bay, and the Italian took his first big opportunity into the final corner. Anton ran wide, and that dropped into P4. What a shame for the Philippines youngster, who is this year's rookie champion, so he's still got plenty of consolation out of it. Sawyer 3rd, Gilmore 2nd, but Niccolò Macchignani, the new Italian stallion. Double victory so far, with a hat-trick on the horizon. Amazing work from Niccolò Macchignani. We'll be back later for race 3 when he goes from pole position again. Can he finish the season with a clean sweep in only his 2nd weekend in car racing to set up an amazing 2026 for the youngster? We will find out in just a few short hours.